Welcome to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales, the podcast that provides the strategies and insights to sell smarter, close bigger deals, and drive real results. As Q1 wraps up, are you ahead of plan, right on track, or scrambling to catch up? Today, Kevin and Sean break down the critical steps you must take to maintain momentum or recover lost ground. From refining your lead generation to maximizing customer relationships. Plus, they'll reveal a powerful yet often overlooked strategy that could instantly boost your revenue without adding a single new customer. Stay tuned because this episode is packed with actionable tactics to help you own Q2 and beyond.
So for the last couple episodes, Kevin and I have been talking about butterflies, and we've been talking about basketball. And that all implies that we are getting to the end of Q1 and we are working on Q2. Where are you out there on your Q2? Are you on track? Did you have a good Q1? Now I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing you can do to fix it right now because as you listen to it, we're coming to the end of March and here it is. It's the end of Q1 and you're behind. You can't fix it. You're behind. It's just a fact of life. Next year, I'm going to tell you, get ahead on Q1 because there's nothing better for making your year to be ahead at the end of Q1. When you're behind, then you're struggling. So we're going to break this up. Let's talk about if you are on track, if you are ahead or on track, and then we'll talk about if you are behind. So if you're ahead, if you're on track, congratulations. You did things right. Maybe you got lucky. Luck's okay. Because if you're not good, being lucky is okay. You need to maintain your momentum. You need to think about, can I actually blow my number out? Am I set up to have the best year that this company can have if I'm ahead already at Q1, depending on how much you're ahead? So now's the time when you really want to buckle down. You got to look at all of your deals. You got to be ready. You got to make sure they're all going to close because you have a chance at greatness. Think about that. You have a chance of not only beating the number that you planned for the year, that big rock that you put out there for the year, then said, this is where we're going to be. You have a chance of beating that, which just does great things for the shareholders of your company. It does great things for the salespeople. It does great things for all the employees of the company. No layoffs happen when you're ahead on your revenue. You might have to hire people. That'll be a different challenge, but you have a chance of doing greatness if you are even or ahead at the end of Q1. Now is the chance to make sure that what you are doing to get you here is exactly what you have to do to get you there. You have to close your deals. You have to know what deals to go after. You have to make sure that everybody in your team knows what the key value proposition is, what your ideal client proposition is. You have to know all of those things and get going. And if you don't, now that you're ahead, you had a couple of weeks before Q2 starts. Let's get going. Let's get at it. Let's make sure that you are absolutely working to put deals into the funnel that are going to close this year because now you're ahead. Let's really get ahead. Find out what deals are really good and let's get them into the funnel. What customers are perfect customers for us to go after. We might have a little bit of bandwidth that we can spend some extra time with those difficult customers that we haven't been able to get to. But now we're ahead. Let's get it. Let's have a chance of doing great. There's been times in my career when I have blown away my number early in the year. And those are great years because I was always able to get my team or get myself back when I was a young salesperson to do those things that was going to make Q4 fantastic. Get ready, get the deals in place, get the prospects in place, get everything lined up so that Q4 is going to be ahead of schedule as well. You're going to beat your number there. Now that's what happens if you are even or ahead of your quota at the end of Q1. But what happens if you're behind? What happens if you're 5% or 10% behind? Or God forbid you're worse than that? What do you have to do then? What do you have to think about? What do you have to do fast? Kevin, I'm going to let you start that process. I have some few ideas, but I know you've been sitting there waiting patiently for me to stop talking. So go for it.
Sean, thank you. And it's so interesting if we all step back from the numbers for a second and we say, what are the behaviors? because whether you're on track, ahead of plan, or behind, a lot of the behaviors are still the same. Pause. For all of you listening, if you're wondering how to start this conversation inside your organization, Sean and I both have and maintain a website and LinkedIn profiles that have a lot of these tools out there that are free for you. Go engage those tools. They're on our websites under our blogs and our free resources. A lot of these tools exist. You don't have to start with a blank sheet of paper. Go there, look for our major account plans, our forecast indicators, our ideal client lead scoring and ranking tools that are on our websites. It's free, it's for you, and you can use it to get out there and do that work. So, Sean, back to your question, what do you do when you're behind? First thing we do is we do a quick win-loss analysis. Are we losing a lot? Did we lose a lot of deals that we should have won? Or do we not have enough top of funnel deal flow to get us to our goal? Sean and I, we would die on this mountain and say everybody has a leads problem. Everybody, whether you're winning, losing, or drawing, you have a leads problem. You either don't have enough leads, the leads you're getting are not quality or aligned to your value that you offer, or you're talking to good leads in a way that doesn't attract or close them. That happens very often. It's unfortunate because there's a lot of good prospects out there that we can serve that never quite make it across the finish line because of the words or language or leadership we're applying to that. So sales leaders and owners, time to do a little navel gazing. Are you leading well? Salespeople, have you asked for the right resources to get these leads closed? If you're selling systems or processes, meaning you sell it once and then you keep filling the order week over week, are you talking to the right people that can say yes to your opportunities? So if you're behind, take a day and do some really serious deal analysis, personal assessment to figure out if you've got a training issue or something else that's affecting your leads. I want to caution you all if you're behind. Now is not the time to throw haymakers and up in your marketing and do a lot of crazy stuff. Now is the time for tweaking pieces of your message so you can know how to win in Q2. Folks, if you're not using your CRM, it's your fault. Whether you're a sales leader, salesperson, or owner, the CRM is where you categorize your thoughts and get better at time management because you're better able to qualify, document next steps, figure out and document customer pain. If you're not using your CRM, you're probably listening going, yeah, but I do that in my notebook. That's fine. But accessing it digitally and being effective in managing your deal flow, you're handicapping yourself. You're actually causing more problems than you're solving. So I'm going to get back to when you're behind. Are you doing enough prospecting and lead generation? Or are you only focusing on the customers that traditionally talk to you, will deal with you, and you're really just riding their wave? Their success is driving yours. I see this a lot with customers who have really heavy relationship salespeople where they're not doing the work. They've got 50 accounts and there's 52 weeks in a year and they're seeing their major accounts every or every other week, and they're really not doing any prospecting. Or the prospecting they're doing is haphazard when their core customers are on vacation. So it feels like I'm going to call them once in Q1 and maybe once in Q3 and wonder why they're not doing business with us. We've got to break these cycles. So if you've never done a travel plan, a route planning, I remember being in college, this is pre-internet, pre-web-based CRM. This is really pulling out a map and pulling out an account list and figuring out where to go, when, and how to get to see 100 accounts every quarter. So when you're trying to go see a large volume of accounts, you have to be really selective in how you map out your territory and plan for success. Your goals are directly tied to how you're spending your time, and success is driven off of that. Time management, being behind is the same as being ahead. Being intentional with where you spend your time and calories in the market. And if you're a sales leader and you're behind on your goals, you need to probably also look at hiring. Maybe that's a compensation plan adjustment that you didn't do last year because you didn't quite get to it. This is probably bearing fruit for not dealing with your compensation because you've incentivized people to grow their existing account base, or you haven't incentivized calling on new accounts and winning new accounts. All this stuff is related. And this is why Sean and I pick our heads up off the pillow in the mornings, is to go out and make this kind of difference. We have to take an intellectually honest approach to managing well, leading ourselves and others. Sean, that was a lot of talk for getting from behind to getting back even. Chime in here.
So I want to build on something you kind of alluded to, but I'm going to build onto it a lot because I find this problem in small companies all the time. And that is your customer doesn't know you that well. Your best 10 customers, your best 20 customers, they really don't know who you are. And that may be different for your specific company. And I apologize if I just offended you. But most small companies don't know their customers very well, and their customers don't know them very well. So if you are behind, if you're just a little bit behind, like if one more deal could have put you over the number, then that is 100% your fault. In fact, I don't care. It's probably your fault if you're 30% behind as well. But the better your customer, the more likely you are to do two things. One, get more revenue from that customer by selling them another project, another deal, another implementation of your thing, whatever that is, because now they're referring you to the other division in the state next door. They're referring you to their supply chain. They're encouraging their partners to use your product as well. The more you get close to your customer, the better off you are. And you are early enough in the year that if you start that process today, it can make a big impact to you by the end of Q3, Q4. So get really close to your top 20 customers because it's very likely you could have gotten another 5% from them. I said there was a couple things that benefited you. The other thing is you can raise the rates because let's be honest, you need to raise your rates. You need to raise your prices. So if you were a little bit behind, and this is more of an owner strategy, you need to raise your rates 5%. And I don't know any of my clients in the whole time I've had my company, and I've been running New Sales Expert, my company, for 4.5 years now. And I've been in sales for 40 years. I've always found that you can do a little bit more on the rates. You can do a little bit of a higher price, 2%, 5%, 10%. You can do it. You know you can. You really don't lose deals based on price. Very few people do. If somebody buys your product and their ROI in the product is 9 months, is there really a difference between 9 months and 9 months and a week? And that's really all it is. That's the difference. 9 months and a week versus 9 months. If you pay off your product in 3 years, then what's the difference between 3 years and 3 weeks versus 3 years? Your math isn't that exact anyway. Raise your price. So if you're a little bit behind, then get your price up. Go out there and raise your price. You're not going to lose more deals. You're not going to blow it. So do that. As a company owner, you can do that. Salespeople, you probably can't do that, except you can stop discounting and don't discount. Kevin, close this out here.
Sean, I love the reminders of not discounting because it's something we all need to hear. As salespeople, we are conditioned often to think that price is the most important part of the discussion. But you and I, we go to market saying, hey, we need to be focusing on value. So as you're prepping for Q2, as a leader, owner, salesperson, make sure you understand your value to the market. Your preparation for next quarter and focusing on value will drive the right volume, the right value through your pipeline to the right quarterly goal. Whether you're ahead, on track, or behind, it's the same discussion. Focus on value, sell through the value, and be intentional with selling that value to your customers. That's what they're buying. They're not buying only the relationship, only the price, only the one thing. They're buying a solution, an executive outcome from you. So, Sean, as we're wrapping up here, we've talked about budgets, we've talked about goals, hiring, getting ahead, being behind, starting with the butterfly garden, all the way through the basketball tournament, all the way to prepping for Q2. For everyone listening right now, come back next week where we're going to talk about fixing your funnel. We're going to get a little more tactical, talking about the stages that are upcoming. And as a reminder, we're going to talk about stages in your sales process and leaning into those so that you can ensure you're going to reach the goal and being intentional about the methods and processes and tactics to get you to your goal in Q2, regardless of the outcome of Q1, whether it's a catch up or an extending the lead. It would be great if all of us were starting to focus on how do we reach our quota in Q3, not Q4. When we reach our quota earlier, everything else is gravy. That's where people tier out on bonuses. That's where companies start building the war chest for growth of retiring debt on the balance sheet. Q4 should be a wonderful experience when we're doing the work now. So stay tuned next week for that, and we'll talk about fixing the funnel. And don't forget to go to our websites and download all those free resources. They're there for the taking. Make a difference. Happy selling.
What a great episode. I learned a lot about how critical CRM usage is in driving sales efficiency and deal flow. If you're not leveraging your CRM to track prospects, document pain points, and manage your pipeline effectively, you're leaving money on the table. And don't forget today's significant actionable item. Perform a win-loss analysis on your first quarter deals. If you're ahead, double down on what's working. If you're behind, now is the time to identify whether the issue is lead quality, messaging, or closing tactics before another quarter slips away. Don't wait until tomorrow to do this. Take a few minutes today while it's fresh in your mind, because small adjustments now can mean the difference between hitting or missing your quota. If you ever need help with sales, sales management, or simply growing your company, reach out to Sean or Kevin. Their contact information is in the show notes. Plus, take a quick assessment to see if your company or sales team is operating at its best. Make sure to subscribe to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales on your favorite podcast player so you never miss an episode filled with strategies to elevate your sales game. Until next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, happy selling.